Hey guys, this is your boy Abdul coming at you with a tournament review of a super exciting year-long series of tournaments that's happening in your favorite simulator right now. That's right, Liftoff Pro League is where it's at. Offline multiplayer madness with players all over the world, sponsored by Dquad, giving you the chance to win more than $2,000 worth of prizes over the course of the year, along with a year-long sponsorship, real-world sponsorship by Dquad for one pilot who proves that he or she is better than all the rest. Have you got what it takes? Let's dive into this tournament, see how people did in chapter 1 and see and get you guys ready to rip for chapter 2. Here we go. So the event is called the Dquad Fixation Tournament. It is a year-long tournament which will have 12 monthly chapters. Chapter 1 is what we're watching right now. We're on Finzi FPV's run right now at absolutely full blistering pace, and this is the top end of the competition, the top of the leaderboards. The Pro League is an environment in Liftoff allowing pilots to practice their racing skills in offline multiplayer against pilots all over the world. This tournament is taking place in the gorgeous short circuit environment which has windmills, a racetrack, slipstream, a DLC which allows you to chase cars, and a small go-kart track as well, which is where our tournament chapter 1 is going to be happening. It just finished a few days ago. We're gonna go all over the events. Winner's gonna take home 2 Dquad fixation frames along with a lot of spares, and number 2 is also going to take away a Dquad fixation frame. There we go, beautiful frame. One of your boys, the Dquad Addiction, has been I believe that's what it's called, has been one of my favorite frames since forever. One of the prettiest FPV frames you can get your hands on. Number 2 will also walk away with a Dquad fixation frame kit and spares for it, along with all of the 3D prints that you need in a color of your choosing, with free worldwide shipping. That is right, and that's going to be happening every month for 11 months leading up to the final, where the top pilots will be invited for a chance to compete for a Dquad sponsorship. This is the quad being flown by one of Dquad's sponsored pilots in a live racing environment, and you can see this thing is on rails. He is constantly at full throttle. He's constantly pushing the quad to the absolute limit of its performance, and it is absolutely rock solid. For your chance to get this quad into your life for free, along with a year-long real-world sponsorship from Dquad to get you parts for pilots all over the world. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, all you have to do is compete in Liftoff. This is how you do it. You load in your Liftoff, that you can fly the actual Dquad fixation frame as well, officially provided by Dquad and officially put in by the devs. All you do is come to multiplayer, jump on over to Pro League, which is an initiative to help turn the top Liftoff pilots into professional real-world pilots. That's what it's about. There constant tournaments happening. Chapter 2 is live now. Stick around till the end to hear spoilers about how that's going, but what we're looking at today is chapter 1. G-Man, Finzi, the Paka all the way on top. Let's take a look at the rules. The rules were 1 tryout every 12 hours. You get to store up to 2 tryouts and fly in big boy mode. No god mode, battery management enabled, and no rewinds. First place, 2 fixation frames, a bunch of spares. Second place for fixation frame kit, a bunch of spares, and place 1 to 3 have a chance to win a 2023 Liftoff Champions Badge. The Champions Badge is sponsored by Liftoff. The other frames are sponsored by Dquad. We had 390 pilots take part in this competition from all over the world, and while only 3 of them are on top, I can guarantee you that each and every one of these pilots right here, they became faster and better pilots through taking part in the competition and putting themselves up to see how good they could be. You can be one of the pilots that gets better every month and every day. If you come on in and put in a tryout every day, all you got to do is compete, and the only person you're competing against is past you. That's how G-Man on the very tippy top, you see his name down there, got to the very tippy top by competing, practicing, putting himself out there. Let's take a quick look at what the racetrack was actually like. The racers going through long lazy right, which is turn 1 of the course. We're on board with Troupex here right now. He's keeping a large bit of altitude as he goes into turn 2, back through the gate, and into turn 3, which leads into a swift chicane-like movement, along with a little bit of loss of altitude of the track, making it just that little bit more juicy. Over here, a lot of racers choosing to go wide, get a little bit of battery juice through every lap before they go into turn 1 again, which takes them all the way around to the back end of the course. Another long lazy right into the finish, straight across, and that is lap 1. So it was a really simple race in this chapter, where it was more about being able to deliver a pristine and perfect performance and deliver it consistently across all of your laps. No gut checks, no crash traps, no really risky parts in the track. So we saw a lot of full throttle all the way, touching plastic action. And you can see here this particular group of pilots were watching it at 25% speed to make sense of it. And when we watch the lead pack at full speed in a few moments, you will understand just why we have to watch it at 25%. But you can see it's all about how tight do you keep it around the course, which was something that we especially saw in the top pilots, was how close to the inside of those turns can you cut it, and how long can you keep your consistency up without making the tiniest of errors, because there were margins between people which were in the hundreds of seconds, and rather not even the tenths of seconds. So there was a lot in this race going back and forth between pilots. So now that you have a general layout of the track, let's take a look-see at our number 5 to number 10, number 5 to number 10. With the track overview nice and slow speed now out of the way, and you have some familiarity with what we're looking at, what the turns are, and what the racetrack is like, let's move on to watching 100% speed run. This one is from the runners up to the race, the people who didn't quite make the podium but were almost there and had a super tight race that they had to deal with. We're on board with Fusel right now at 100% blistering pace, and you can see that this was not an easy race to do. We're gonna delve into each turn slowly and steadily as we break it down in the slow-mo. You can see that the competition is absolutely breakneck. You have to make sure that you get all your turns full throttle. You have to make sure you're in and tight all the time to each and every turn. Your altitude management is on par. Gotta keep it tight, gotta keep the altitude managed. Everything has to be perfect. It may be an easier track with immense gates to get around, but that doesn't mean you don't have to get around it just perfect. We're on board now with our 30 in 30 challenge powered FPV Fly. 51 years young, flying out of Australia all the way down under. He is a COVID pilot, has only been flying for a couple of years, but boy, can the gentleman fly. You can see him keeping it tight on the inside on those turns, that throttle stick all the way up to the top. Look at him on the inside, trying to touch the tippy toes of those flags. It took a little bit of altitude there, so he's choosing to go over the flags there. That little altitude gain over turn one, that's lost him a little bit of time right there. But look at how disciplined and smooth he is. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast, children. Smooth is the way to get around the track. And while this is still very disciplined, we'll get an example of just what race pilot tight is in a moment when we take a look at the top tier of pilots. At 15-year-old phenom from India, Red X FPV, who's had to go through a lot of exams recently. That's why the rust, the lack of smoothness that we see. We're on board with him to see his enigmatic stylistic finish as he goes across the line. Make sure that he has a little celebratory jaw spin right there. Here we're on board with M Duke, who's number 10, lowest in his bracket, but look at this, he misses the gate, goes back full throttle, no issues, and gets back in the race, potentially has a chance to place better, but sadly on the second lap again makes the miss, again full throttle recovery, absolutely fantastic to hold his nerve through that, and then on the third lap he finally gets that super aggressive wide line that gets him through the main gate and through the battery charge up spot as well. Now we're on board with the magical mystical G-Man. This is at 100% blistering pace, full throttle all the way. You gotta love a champ who's a true champ. You can see his sticks down there at the bottom. He shared those. He was kind enough to share those on Discord with everybody as well, for anyone asking how did he get this absolutely fantastic time. Those sticks are right there. All you have to do is move your sticks in the same manner and you will get that time too. Let's break it down at super slow speed and see if we can make sense of just what a mystical run that was. Here we go, on board with G-Man. This is the winning run of the Dquad Fixation Chapter 1 tournament. There we go. You can see that he doesn't have the strongest start, starts behind the pack, but by turn 4 he makes his lead known. He's got a couple of people right on his tail, but look at how tight he is to the inside at all times, practically touching the flag tips as he goes around, maintaining a nice stable altitude. There is a bit of variation, but it's by maybe a simple foot or two, which is not held him back enough to have anyone else be able to take the lead on him. Additionally, look at the level of pre-turning. Pre-turning is the way. If you want to be fast, if you want to cut those times and get those super top of the leaderboard times, you gotta pre-turn. And inside all of this, with the consistency of every lap being on the line, every lap being perfect, he's also making sure to get all of his battery ups. Let's take another look at that at even slower speed so we can take apart the start. So we look at that, he goes way up top of the line, a lot of altitude gain, right in number 5 position, but by turn 1 he's already number 3. In the straightaway he's already number 2. We've still got a couple of people trying to fight with him, Depaka and Finzi trying to get ahead there, but by turn 4 it's all G-Man all the time. And look at the consistency of the line that he's flying. It's super tight, it's super smooth, so he's got the flow dialed in, which is what Stream Champ Blue Cheese DK has always told us, that you gotta get the flow dialed in first off the track. Don't even worry about the time, just worry about the flow, worry about getting it smooth. Look at how much he's cutting each and every corner, every lap. He pre-turns every turn. He makes sure that every turn is super tight. It's simple math. That is how you get to the top of the leaderboard, is by being disciplined and consistent. So he's pushing it extra hard in this lap. Mind you, while he's racing this, he doesn't know what everyone else's time is. It is a multiplayer race, but it is offline multiplayer. So when you put in your time, and we have a restricted number of tryouts, only 2 tryouts you could store, and took 12 hours to get another tryout. So you had only 2 chances at this a day. If you messed up one turn somewhere and lost 100th of a second, that may very well kill your run. But G-Man, he knows how to get it done. Every run perfect, every lap on the spot, making sure that the line is exactly what he wants it to be. It's going to be super exciting as we go through the other chapters of our tournament and see where all of the leaders wind up. And if you want to see what G-Man's line is without having to wait for the race overview, you can write in your very own Liftoff. Just access Liftoff Pro League like we showed you at the beginning, and click the button, click the check boxes in front of the racers you want to see and hit view replay. You can view it at whatever speed you want. Right now we're first person view with G-Man FPV. This is what it looked like to him, and look at how close he was to those tires there. Literally went over the flag, millimeter level precision there. And you can take a look at what his line is, you can take a look at what his throttle is, you can take a look at what his strategy is, and make sure that you get faster. Here are your leaders For Chapter 1, G-Man taking the victory. Finzi in number 2, Dapaka in number 3, No Time in number 4, less than a second separating all of your race leaders. It was a super tight race, and we're really looking forward to what Chapter 2 will bring with regards to pushing competition for pilots all over the world and giving them a chance to compete together on one platform for the absolutely fantastic cash prizes that are going out every month, along with the dream of every drone pilot across the world, which is a year-long real-world sponsorship by a leading drone frame manufacturer, Dquad. That was Chapter 1, and this is a look at Chapter 2, which is live right now. Your chance to win that Dquad fixation frame and get a year-long sponsorship from Dquad in the real world. This track is called On Air, designed by a fantastic German community member of Liftoff, Crazy Zock. It is a highly technical track with a couple of traps, which the first of which is coming up right here, which are gonna put pilots to the test. And with God mode disabled and rewinds disabled, you're gonna have to make sure that you keep your line tight and that you keep your errors minimal. Let's take a quick look at it at super slow speed. It starts out simple enough and we pass on through a gazebo, but immediately we're going through a tight hole, a long tunnel filled with metal beams under the bleachers, and it doesn't get any easier as we go through into a chicane through the event tent, and then you have to figure out which one of these lines works best for you, into a super low and small split S gap underneath the truck. So there are 3 sections which are going to test the mettle of pilots, and we're going to have to see who can balance their consistency along with their reliability and not just smashing the quad over and over. Currently, Finzi FPVs chalked out a big lead at the end of race 1, 39.8 seconds as compared to 54.6 by his closest competitor Light Brown Rice, and closely followed by FPV Fly at 56.4 seconds. But we expect this to change a whole lot. We've got 3 more weeks of competition and hundreds of pilots from around the world who want to prove that not only are they better pilots than they were yesterday, but that they're better pilots than all the other pilots in the world. And if that is an assertion that you have in your life as well, all you gotta do is jump on into Liftoff Pro League. It's free to join. It is free to compete. Chapter 2 is live now up until the end of the month. You have a number of daily tryouts. You can warm up on this track on your own time. You can watch the replays of the top pilots to figure out what is the best line for your flight style, and you can get you to the tippy tip top of the leaderboards. All you gotta do is click on that Liftoff Pro League play button and have an immense amount of fun competing against pilots from around the world. There were 390 pilots competing for Chapter 1. There's already almost 200 competing for Chapter 2. The excitement and the flames of competition are burning all the way across the world. Get yourself in there, get it done, and you will be guaranteed a better pilot at the end of it. This has been your boy Abdul for putting together the tournament race review for Liftoff for the Dquad Fixation Tournament, sponsored by Dquad, a series of 12 tournaments spread over the course of the year to find the most committed and best pilot from all of the lands and provide him with a real-world 1-year sponsorship courtesy of Dquad. This race review has been brought to you courtesy of Lugo Studios. Remember to fly your favorite simulator, my favorite simulator, Liftoff today. Have yourselves an absolutely fantastic month, and we will catch you guys next month with the review of Chapter 2. Happy flying! Alrighty tighty, take 7. Here we go. We're gonna live with your chance to get this frame in your... Oh no, we have to push the button, don't we? Forgot to push the button. What's Drat? I had not topped this guy. Let's top it so it's pretty. Oh, come on. It's wasting my recording time. This is wasting my edit time. Come on. What? Why? Let's say hello to our first interviewer person. This is where we will insert the people. I've reached out to a few of them. I think G-Man and FPV Fly have already confirmed. Finzi can't make it after number 10. Come a bit of a people's. Okay. It's going to be joy to edit, won't it? Oh, we should cut this.